Guess where I'm going to? Poland's second city, Krakow. So, dzień dobry z Krakowie. Krakow is a pretty massive city in and of itself. It is the second city in Poland, and its metropolitan area here in the deep south of the country, even combined with the Katowice metropolitan area, which then connects into the wider Ostrava. Was it Ostrava? Yeah, metropolitan area, I believe. All of this combined is a massive or previously wildly industrialized area, which right now is getting back on its feet as a, well, more reinvented area with other types of industry, lots of possibilities for tourism, and obviously it is a fascinating place for history buffs. I like to think I know a lot about Krakow, but there is a lot of places that I didn't know about, such as the Szary Dom and the Red House as well, which is the previous residence of Amon Goeth, a horrific character who played a wide role in the Second World War here in Krakow. And all of these places are in the area of Płaszów, which is about a 20-minute train ride from where I'm currently standing, Krakow Wobrzów. And you can do that with the metropolitan trains here in the area. For just 6 zloty you get a single fare, which is a year and a half, and you're on your way throughout the entire area. Interesting. Some new places I'm going to visit in this Płaszów area that I didn't know about, but I saw a Polish documentary on YouTube and got pretty interested in the whole area. There was even a concentration camp with the same name called Płaszów, but it is entirely destructed. So yeah, let's just hop on the train throughout this gorgeous city. The train goes all the way to Wieliczka, which is the salt mine town. Fascinating place, although widely touristy, so I don't really feel like going to such places. The train's pretty packed, but let's try to enjoy the ride at least. This used to be the house of Amon Goeth, the Red House it was called, and he was an Austrian-born Nazi who was actually one of the most brutal commanders in the SS at the time. He had pretty much free reign to do whatever he wanted, and in the back from the balcony he was shooting straight at inmates, because that was the Płaszów concentration camp grounds in the back. So Amon Goeth had a residence here. Later this house was privatized and it's now just a random luxury home. Rather strange if you ask me, but time moves on, right? And if we go down the street here, we get to the Grey House. All these developments were from a later era, but the Grey House was actually an SS headquarters where previously the Jewish cemetery administration was. And the Grey House is in Polish the Szary Dom, and it is actually right there on the back, and that's actually state a sort of memorial. It's served as a prison where people were locked in isolation, and some awaiting execution in the pitch dark. It is said that the cellars, the basement with the cells, still have inscriptions in, for example, Cyrillic of the inmates. And many people actually thought that That was the house where Amon Goeth lived, but that's not actually true. That was where we just were. But in the movie Schindler's List, Amon Goeth is, I believe, displayed in that actual house, the Sharidom, but it's a misconception that he actually lived there. So this house actually does serve as a memorial. So there will be some signs and such, and right in the back of it is the actual previous grounds of the what was once Pashuf KL Konzentrationslager. Right, we see the grey plaques coming up, and a lot of heavy history has taken place in this area. You wouldn't believe it unless you looked into it a bit further. It's absolutely grim. The weather fits the day, right? Matches the atmosphere a bit. And here it is, the Shari Dom, the grey house. It looks unchanged, it looks a bit grim indeed. And here you get immediately to the Prashov previous camp grounds. We can see some historical plaques right here. So basically the whole previous campgrounds were flattened. Although you can see what it was before the camp was here. You can see the Shari Dom in the back, the grey house. There used to be the cemetery, the funeral home, which is destroyed in parts. It's not there anymore. And you can see the old cemetery right here. So all this field used to be a large cemetery. Then the tombstones were used to build stairs and everything, so that the prisoners were forced to just destroy the cemetery, and then you have the grey house all the way down there in the back. And this was then all turned into Pashuf camp. It's quite strange to be here though. Not really a well-known place, I don't see any tourists, so yeah. Lots to read and learn here. And then you will find several fragments of these trails that were made of old tombstones. You can see the old letters still, parts of them. It's quite gruesome. Yeah, it's just big campgrounds. It's interesting, people don't treat it as such. I just stepped in dog shit, and there was just another guy drinking hard liquor with a cigarette and spitting as well. It's not entirely treated as sacred or memorial grounds. I find it a bit strange, honestly. It's more used as a dog park. In any case, I'm not here to tell people what to do in their own city, right? But I do have the sense that it's a bit of an overlooked part of the city, more as a, well, perhaps that's because nothing remains truly to be seen other than the memorial plaques and the Shari Dome, so it's more seen as a residential park. I can understand, like, if you grow up here, you just see it eventually as well. It's part of the city's history and sort of integrates, whereas tourists often come with Cracow, that's the Second World War history city, and we sort of make that a goal of the trip, let's say. See as many of these places as possible. It becomes just very special, and you feel you cannot even speak out loud in such spots. But really, life goes on, right? It is, however, a bit of an interesting place, a big contrast with, for example, previous camps where I've been. This is just a bit of an outlier. And here you find some remains where used to be barbed wire fences and some old barracks that are vandalized by some thugs. So history is being destructed in front of our eyes, which is a shame. It's quite interesting to see a type of stone. Not sure how old this is. Oh well, nothing is really left to see. So Pashov, well, worth exploring, has little actual grasping sites, but it doesn't mean that the history is not worth learning about. And it might just be rewarding in and of itself, because at least you're like one of the few persons walking about here. I've seen like no tourists, not even Polish people, just local residents.